This terrible case, which occurred in May 2021, shocked the whole world with its cruelty. The 13-year-old girl was found in the woods, and police quickly identified the main suspect. When his identity became known to the public, people were shocked to the core. In this video, we will tell you what happened to Tristyn Bailey, and why this event keeps all of America in suspense to this day. Tristyn Bailey lived in St. Johns County, Florida, a short drive from the major city of Jacksonville. The area where she lived with her family is very picturesque and expensive. It is surrounded by forests and dotted with dozens of ponds, which, coupled with the climate of the southern state, creates excellent living conditions. Tristyn's parents had 5 children. The girl herself was energetic and purposeful. She was on her school's cheerleading team, had many friends, and never lost her positive attitude. On Saturday, May 9, 2021, Mother's Day was celebrated in the United States. Residents of the district were preparing to take part in the festive events, but even that plan was not destined to come true. At approximately 10 a.m., Tristyn's parents contacted the police and reported that they could not find their daughter. Law enforcement agencies immediately began searching, and a few hours later, they issued an official statement about the disappearance of a 13-year-old girl. Hundreds of local residents joined the search, combing streets and wooded areas. Many of them were dressed in festive suits and dresses, but this did not stop people. By this time, reporters had arrived at the scene, which also made it possible to convey information about the missing child to the general public. After 16 hours of searching, the police department held a press conference to announce the disappointing news. Tristyn Bailey's body was found near a pond near her own home. She was discovered by one of the local residents, who saw a message about Tristyn's disappearance and joined the search. The sheriff released few details in this statement. He said police would continue to investigate, and urged journalists not to harass the deceased girl's family at this difficult time. However, it soon became known that it was a murder. The news shocked the local community. In their prestigious area, crimes were rare, and no one could even imagine this. Hundreds of people gathered to support Tristyn's family and honor her memory. 10 local residents also brought recordings from surveillance cameras installed on their houses to the police. They all thought only about who could do this to Tristyn. These recordings really helped the police. On the morning of May 9, Tristyn was spotted on camera near a sports center in the company of an unknown person. Judging by his appearance, he was about the same age as the girl. He was wearing shorts and a light-colored hoodie. The next recording captured them about half an hour later. They were moving towards the end of the street, which ends in a dead end and borders a wooded area. Almost 2 hours later, the same camera captured the same man. But Tristyn was no longer with him. He was walking in the opposite direction, and there was something strange here. The man was carrying shoes in his hands. The police quickly identified this man and identified him as 14-year-old Aiden Fucci, who attended the same school as Tristyn and lived nearby. Moreover, it was only a few minutes' walk from where the girl's body was found to Aiden's house. Detectives went to his home to ask some questions. What worried them most was why he was walking down the street without shoes a few tens of meters from the scene of Tristyn's murder. Aiden stated that he had chafed his foot and decided to walk home without shoes. This explanation did not suit the police, and they received permission to search his house. There they found the clothes he was wearing on camera next to Tristyn. There were traces of blood on some things. Already on May 10, the sheriff announced the arrest of Aiden Fucci. He was charged with second-degree murder. At that time, the police kept some details secret, and the public was in a state of mass shock. Could a 14-year-old child really do this? Immediately after his arrest, Aiden posted a photo from a police car on Snapchat. The boy took a selfie and added a creepy caption, "Guys, has anyone seen Tristyn lately?" Everyone was shocked by this act, because this message sounded like a mockery of the girl's death. For many residents of the area, this was confirmation that Aiden was indeed involved in her death. Rather, the police department reported that during interrogation, Aiden changed his versions of what happened several times, which further convinced investigators of his guilt. At the same time, detectives revealed extremely creepy details of Tristyn's death. She was struck 114 times with a sharp object. This indicated that the crime was deliberate and planned. The killer was clearly preparing for this. The police were unable to find the weapon in Aiden's house, but search teams soon found a knife at the bottom of one of the local ponds. Experts determined that it was the one used in the crime, but they were unable to take fingerprints from the handle. To link this crime to Aiden, the police needed more evidence than suspicious camera footage or strange behavior after the arrest, and they soon had it. For several days, experts quickly examined the items taken by the police from the suspect's house. Traces of Tristyn Bailey's DNA were found on Aiden's shoes and t-shirt. As a result, the police had a significant set of evidence in their hands, which was already enough to take the case to court. However, in addition to this, investigators managed to obtain a partial confession from the teenager. Aiden admitted that he and Tristyn were walking along the streets together, and at some point an argument arose between them. Then the young man pushed the girl. She fell and hit her head on the ground. After this, Aiden allegedly went home. As you understand, this version is far from reality given the many contradictions. It is possible that the suspect's lawyer worked in this story, trying to reduce everything to a charge of manslaughter. But with such a set of evidence, it was almost impossible. After interviewing Aiden's classmates and friends, the police found out another extremely creepy fact. The teenager repeatedly said he planned to take someone into the woods and kill them. None of his acquaintances considered it necessary to inform his parents or the police about this. Everyone thought Aiden was just joking, but it turned out that he was open about his plans. Given the fact that the crime caused a storm of indignation in society, the police and the court worked at an accelerated pace. Already on May 11th, the first court hearing took place. Due to coronavirus restrictions, it was held via video link. Due to the suspect's age, they wanted to try him on charges of second-degree murder. However, the brutality with which this crime was committed forced the judge to pause for 21 days to make a very difficult decision whether to try the 14-year-old boy as an adult and charge him with first-degree murder. The punishment varies greatly depending on the degree, but more on that later. At the trial, Aiden looked confused and could be seen fighting back tears. Looking at such a spectacle, it is difficult to imagine that this 14-year-old boy is capable of committing such an inhumane crime. A week later, Aiden's lawyer asked to be removed from the case. He did not specify the reasons for this decision, but everything here may be very obvious. Not every lawyer can defend a monster with peace of mind. As a result, the young man was assigned a free lawyer. Meanwhile, the public sent a petition to the prosecutor's office and the governor's office. People demanded that Aiden be tried as an adult, and the charge changed to first-degree murder. In just a few days, more than 700,000 people signed this petition. On May 27, the court made this decision. Aiden Fucci was decided to be tried as an adult on a charge of first-degree murder. The commission made this decision unanimously. The prosecutor told reporters that no one had any doubts about the verdict, given the incredible cruelty of the crime. There are a few points worth mentioning here. Florida has the death penalty, but it is only available to people over 18 years of age. Aiden is only 14. Therefore, the maximum sentence he could receive is life imprisonment with the possibility of release after 40 years. On May 29, the first court hearing on the new charges took place. There they only got acquainted with the case and scheduled a final hearing for June 10. Aiden spent all this time in a separate block of the prison for adults. When a teenager is tried as an adult, he is necessarily separated from adult prisoners. I think there is no need to clarify what these rules are related to. On June 4, Aiden's lawyer sent a document to the court in which his client calls himself innocent. This meant that the court would have to prove his guilt. Although no one doubted that the verdict would be guilty, the next day, the public was shocked by terrible news. Aidan's mother is arrested on charges of tampering with evidence. On May 9, when Aidan was taken away for questioning, his mother washed his clothes, on which traces of blood were found. The prosecutor told reporters that he would seek a real prison sentence for the mother. It is noteworthy that the police learned about the mother's actions thanks to surveillance footage. It shows a woman washing clothes, although the quality of the video does not allow the details to be seen. As for Aidan himself, something strange happened to him. On September 1, another hearing took place via video link, and the young man suddenly started talking about demons, asking where he was and what was happening around him. Everyone looked as if the boy had gone crazy. Many considered this behavior to be feigned. If doctors recognize Aidan as mentally ill, he will have a chance to avoid a life sentence and, in the worst case, spend several years in a closed hospital. According to journalists, a forensic psychologist not associated with Aidan's case gave his assessment of his behavior. The specialist noted that, in his opinion, the suspect's behavior was not feigned. A notebook with satanic runes was also found in Aidan's cell, and his girlfriend told investigators that the young man had previously complained of voices in his head that urged him to kill someone. All this looked extremely doubtful. Why did Aidan behave normally for several months after his arrest? And one day he suddenly stopped being oriented in space, forgot where he was, and started talking about a demon. His behavior really suggests that the young man is trying to avoid imprisonment. Suffice it to recall his mocking selfie in a police car, where he openly ridiculed Tristyn's death. Only a cold-blooded monster could do such a thing. Or did the voices in his head make this post for him? Fuchi's preliminary hearing was rescheduled for 9 a.m. October 28. The trial lasted until March 2023. In January, Aidan Fuchi took a surprise plea deal and admitted to killing Tristyn Bailey nearly 2 years after stabbing her to death. In March, he was sentenced to life in prison for the stabbing death of Tristyn Bailey. Aidan's lawyers sought a 40-year prison sentence, but the judge sentenced Fuchi to life. Under Florida law, a student's case can be reviewed after 25 years. This is probably the most complex and shocking case in our county. Judge Lee Smith commented on the verdict. Aidan's grandmother was present at the court hearing and asked to commute the sentence for her grandson.